Yeah, some little makeshift intro because it's hard but fair out here, man. It's fair. I'm using this little mic. I had another mic that's a little better, but anyway, I'm not gonna get into all of that. Sound will be improving soon, but do not expect to be doing a video about the Cowboys so soon. Figured, hey, by Super Bowl we'll be hearing about a new coach. That is not the case. It has been announced that Jerry's met with Mike McCarthy, and we're gonna run it back. I got some thoughts on that. A lot of thoughts, positive, negative. You know, it's just one of them things. Most of the time, I started like this. We're gonna start with we always get the question, what you want first, the good news or the bad news? Most people say, go on, give me the bad news first because we like to go ahead and get the hard part or the difficult part or the disappointing part out of the way. And then the good news will kind of wipe out the bad news. And you get the good news before the bad news, and it's the other way around. It's like, damn, that was the last thing I got left with was the bad news. And that's how the season kind of feels. The good news was the season. Bad news, the playoffs. And we're going to run it back again with that. So no matter how the season goes, the playoffs will be lingering in everybody's mind is, okay, yeah, we've won in the regular season before, but the playoffs, what we going to do? We're going to melt down again. We're going to be unprepared again. What is it? Part of the reason I felt like Mike McCarthy wouldn't be back wasn't just because of the offensive struggles. And I'll get into that a little bit more because offensive struggles weren't all his fault. But I felt like the lack of preparation falls on the head coach. The discipline falls on the coach a bit. Although you're coaching professionals, you shouldn't have to correct and do a lot of discipline when people are making mistakes. When you're in high school and little league and stuff, you running laps, you running outside, doing up downs or whatever disciplinary action your coach has. That's what you did. You're not doing that in the pros. These dudes are professionals, and it's just part of the game that you shouldn't have to go back and go over the fundamentals. So I blame McCarthy and the staff for the preparation for the game. The reason I don't blame him for the offense, all of the offensive struggles, is because he worked with what he has. The offensive struggles kind of fall back on the front office. The one-dimensional offense that focus on CeeDee Lamb. Nobody else had a game to where maybe, okay, let me go back. Cooks may have had a game or two where he exploded a little bit and you saw like, okay, got a number two. But honestly, the number two, it's been this way before when Romo, number two, number one is, been the tight end. And then, sometimes it's been that receiver. Back from when Witten was playing, even Dalton Schultz was I wouldn't even, Dalton Schultz probably was a three back when Cooper was here. and CD was the two. Um, so yeah, that's one thing that, it's a few things that we're gonna have to upgrade this season, and running back is the main thing. Shouldn't have to always rely on your passing game. Once people know you're one dimensional, then they line up and they attack you, and they take away that passing game. Or if you just can run, then they're gonna load up the box and take away the running game. Passing game, they're going too deep safety you. Make sure you don't get nothing, can't get past them, and they're gonna zone it out. Probably bracket a few players. CD, make sure we got about 2, 3 different players watching him, and make it difficult. They shorten the field, tighten it up, and make the passing lanes a little bit tougher to go through because nobody's really concerned with you running the ball. And that's something I've been not on here because I haven't been on here this whole season, but to friends and Facebook and family, been saying we need a running back. And I was hoping we dove in on the Derrick Henry, give up a second round pick if we got to. We really don't. It's rare. Well, I wouldn't say rare, but we haven't had the most success with second round picks, and it's because we use that pick as like we take a flyer on players that maybe could have went in the first round but had some issues. Um, I mean, honestly, I think the best second round pick we didn't had in a while, and it's just off the top of my head. I may be missing somebody, but Sam Williams is the top guy I could think of off the top of my head. I mean, and that's been a struggle itself, as far as mental mistakes that he's making. How many times do your coach have to go over the rules with you? Like, hey, don't get in front of him and don't interfere with the kick returner. Just dumb. Um, so yeah, I was thinking we would have used that second round pick, knowing that we haven't been that successful with it. That we use it on somebody that can help us improve our team this year, and we didn't. The speech or the talk was that we love what our team look like right now. That ain't Mike McCarthy fault, I don't believe. I mean, I have heard he's more involved with the personnel decisions and the coaches. He said that he's had more input on draft process, so I'm assuming he would have more input on the free agents. So everybody needs to be honest with what you're looking at. If you feel like the front office ain't they've done you a disservice with the personnel, then you need to say that. You know, don't say yeah. Everybody was satisfied with the roster all the way up until we lost. When I say everybody, I mean the Cowboys organization were saying that they were satisfied. Um, and now we see the results. Tony Pollard is a good um, situational back that you don't use every down, especially coming off a broken leg. Rico Dowdle's almost the same. They're almost the same type. They run styles a bit different, but the way you use them is pretty similar. Not to me, in my opinion, and not the feature back. Um, and if you want to use them, you can have them, but it has to be, you got to have a back in there that can pound the ball. And that makes it easier for backs like Pollard and Dowdle because somebody's wearing down the defense. And those guys, hey, that speed and stuff hits a whole lot different when the defense tired. And they roll down and they tired of hitting because this back keep coming through here and he initiating contact. He bringing it to them too. So beginning of the season, I was happy we got rid of Zeke. Or the beginning of the off season, I was happy because I felt like we would replace him. We can find a better replacement. But the fact that we didn't even go into that outside of with Ronald Jones, and I don't know what happened with that. I was probably one of the few people that was optimistic on how that can work. I like how Ronald Jones attacks the hole when he had the ball, when he was running with Tampa Bay. I didn't see him with the Chiefs. I know with Tampa Bay, that first year when they had Fournette and Brady was there, man was hitting that hole hard. And I watched that in backs how if you tipping through the hole or if you running through, like, they used to teach back in when I played football. And he had that, just that old school mentality. Like, he was hitting it harder than Fournette was. I thought that would work. It didn't. But they didn't bring in anybody else to try it. I mean, at the end, we brought in the guy from Seattle, but definitely got to get better at the run game. Decisions to be made on Tyron Smith. I'm sure they're going to bring him back. But that part is going to be, the run game is something that's going to be crucial to how the next season is going to look. The only thing that's concerning is Mike McCarthy. That was the issue in Green Bay, was he still didn't run the ball. Even when they had backs they felt like they could rely on, he still wasn't running the ball. He was relying on the pass. But we'll see. Maybe that's changed. And we got to give him a back to use, with him calling plays. But yeah, this wasn't the best news to receive. Hearing that, I mean, doesn't give you the most confidence looking into next season. Only thing that could change that is the Cowboys attacking the free agency differently than what they've done recently in the recent past. Just sitting on their hands and waiting for things to fall to them, which, I mean, it helped us get, we got Gilmore on the cheap, which was cool. And Brandon Cooks, you didn't have to give up a lot to get Brandon Cooks. That was cool. But don't mean you got to sit on your hands for the rest of the off season. You still got moves to make. Got to improve your defense. Got to get some linebackers in that are more aware of. That really studied the offense, man. I mean, it's looking at what we got out of the linebackers this year was just straight read and react, and a lot of the reading was misreading. A lot of bad angles taken, man. I mean, it was just, I'm watching these guys and just the passes and the way that they're being moved based off of play action. It's back to that, how we were when Jalen Smith was playing. What I do with that? Got to get better at linebacker. Got to let Micah Parsons, in my opinion, play more linebacker. We got enough defensive linemen where we don't have to use him every down at DM. Still should be used at defensive end some, but I think we should go back to moving them around more. Not just from left side to right side, and not just in pass rushing situations, moving around, like, period. Move him around, man. Let him play linebacker. Let him play DN. Run downs, he definitely needs to be a linebacker. That way he can float to the bottom. He can play on the weak side if necessary and help us out on that back end. But he definitely will be able to take on blocks better than what we have right now. Damon Clark, I think, is a good player. Probably needs to get stronger. He made some good plays here and there, but it's just him combined with Marquise Bell. That just wasn't working. That's not going to work. I don't know what the plans are. Van Der Esch, you really can't rely on that with his injuries and how serious that is. Let's not come back into next season, bringing back Van Der Esch and thinking, all right, we good. That's what we would miss. We didn't have Leighton Van Der Esch. We'd have been all right. Like, how the Cowboys think. They use the minimum amount of thinking power when it comes to making those kind of decisions. Like, yeah, well, we already had somebody here and he wouldn't have got hurt. We might have been all right. Like, nah, man, let's bring in someone else. Because the person we're thinking about may not ever be all right or never be that available to help you out, where you can rely on that. And again, As it's always been said, your best ability is availability, you know. So hopefully that man's health, allows him to be able to walk and play with his children. And it's not as bigger than football. So with that, again, we need to get better at linebacker safety. It's a little disappointing. I'm not sure how they're trying to use them, but our safeties, I mean, Lee Cooker, pretty good safety. You don't really hear about him a lot, which ain't bad. I mean, he ain't getting loot. Plays aren't. Uh, he's not involved in plays. He's getting blown up or getting beat, but still got to make plays. And didn't make any plays. Any plays that turn the game around, or got a pick. You were there, you're out there on the field. But yeah, we got to get better play out of safety. Curse was roaming around. He did pretty well this season. But yeah, I'm not sure about this safety position because the way they use their safeties, it's hard to judge them on that because Curse and Donovan Wilson are used like linebackers. Like, we got to get some linebackers so we can stop using our safeties like linebackers. Need linebackers in here for real. Then it'd be easy to critique the safeties. Cornerbacks, okay. I think we'll be okay at corner. Like Bland, Gilmore. I mean, not Gilmore. Diggs will be back. I'm not sure about Gilmore. Jordan Lewis, they may be back, but I think we'll be okay at corner. Just so to me, our biggest position of needs, we got to make sure our D tackle. If we got a D tackle we can get, let's definitely explore that. Hankins solid. We need somebody that can win on the line of scrimmage, not just hold it up, like penetrate. Osa showed up at times during the season, and when he didn't, it was ugly. There wasn't no in between. It was either good or bad, and the good wasn't always there. So inconsistency on D line is something that we can get better at. We can't keep relying on these guys to come back and bring us something different. We got to bring in some competition to bring out the best in our players. Just telling them, I mean, if I'm a Cowboy and I'm knowing, hey, I don't have nothing to worry about, and I'm gonna be starting. I mean, it's tough to push yourself to get better. Bring in some competition. Nobody's job is secure at this time. Even start giving Trey Lance a little bit more look just to push that. Just to push him. Hey, this young guy, he's learning his offense, man. He's trying to get it down. So Dan Quinn also, if he's not going to be hired off, he's likely to be back. I know a lot of people feel different ways about that. Not really. I don't know. Because my disappointment is mainly off of the main thing is off of one game, but I've been griping about things that I've seen from the defense that's been concerning. So yeah, I don't really know about Dan Quinn, man. That's tough. I mean, I get the having that consistency and bringing it back, and that same voice does do your players some good, but it also makes everybody comfortable. We are not in the position where everybody should be comfortable. Got to shake some stuff up, man. I'm sorry. I get the head coach. I'm not sure how many because Jerry's 82, 83. I know he's don't have that energy to want to start over him. Steven probably is the person, spearheading this decision as well. And like, hey, Jerry, Dad, should not, no, we don't want to start over. And I'm sure he's looked up the numbers and statistics. You know how many head coaches have won in their first year at a job, maybe he's threw them numbers up. I don't know that number, but maybe it's a low number that he's thrown at them. And might as well go into next year with the same thing. We got a better shot based off of the analytics with the coaches that we success probably be better with keeping the coach that we have versus bringing in a new coach and starting over. So I get it a bit, but you know, it just goes to show that this is not the same Jerry Jones that we dealt with back in the 90s and that was renegading his way through the NFL and uh, pissing people off, being aggressive. It's definitely more conservative. Or the organization is more conservative. Again, I think it's more Steven than Jerry. But that's the name of the game, and that's what we're dealing with right now. But just want to just jump back in since that news dropped, and just to share my thoughts on it and a bit of disappointment I have, but not all the way because I get it again. Again, the offensive when it comes to offensive coaching, it's hard to hold Mike McCarthy all the way accountable when the personnel really wasn't um, what it should have been. A one-dimensional offense, and that's something he should have been more vocal about. Stop being a yes man and speak up and let them know what you need. That way, when it comes down to the end of the season, you're not trying to fight. You've already said what it was going to lead to if you didn't get to what we needed, and you look you got a little bit more credibility than. It's not like you're just trying to fight for your job. Now you're saying, well, we didn't have this and that, so that's why we didn't get to where we wanted to. I thought we could win with this, but I guess I was wrong. We definitely need some more running backs and Gallup. We might need to get rid of Gallup, get us a solid number two because Cook is good, but that catch radius for him is kind of tough for Dak to get to him sometime in different routes because Cook really like to cradle the ball, then catch it with his hands. Even though he will catch it with his hands, I think Dak was forcing him to by throwing the ball at certain angles. But he loves to cradle it, and little dude, it's hard to get to him. So maybe they, you know, that's something they look into as well. I would like to keep Cook, but having him as a third receiver versus second is will be ideal, But that's probably easier said than done, So we'll see. But all the young guys, Tolbert, all those Ferguson, hopefully they come back better. Tyler Smith, Biotish, all those guys. Hopefully we get Zach Martin back. He ain't ready to retire. Still recovers all the way from his injury, and we can get more solid, man. I'm gonna be a Cowboy for life, though, man. I'm gonna rep the Cowboys for life. I ain't a Cowboy, but I'm a fan. I ain't going nowhere. Um, yeah, we gonna ride it all the way out. So with that said, man, I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. I ain't gonna hold you no longer. I'll be back on at another time, and we'll be discussing something else. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the new subscribers that came on. And anybody listening, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and man, we're gonna keep it going. But y'all have a good day.